I believe there is a massive twist coming with Robert Downey Jr. And essentially this massive twist will be that the character that we followed from the very first Marvel Cinematic Universe movie all the way till his heroic sacrifice at the end of Avengers Endgame, that guy was never actually Tony Stark. And instead it will be revealed that that character was a variant of Victor Von Doom that had been adopted by the Starks and was raised as Tony Stark, despite actually being a variant of Victor Von Doom.
What?
Now, I've talked about this theory before. This was a theory I had right after we got the actual crazy announcement in July. But the crazy part about this is that there have been a ton of little things that have come out since then that have convinced me even further. And so in this video, I want to talk about all the different reasons why I still think this is the plan, and I have actually refined the theory a bit based on some stuff that insiders have recently said.
Let's go!
So one of the things that happened in the months following was a lot of discussions from Alex Perez over on the Cosmic Circus as far as what he has heard about Marvel's plan for RDJ Doctor Doom. One of the interesting elements that Alex focused on was the motivation for RDJ's Doctor Doom and how they're going to set that up via the Fantastic Four movie and several other films, including, of course, Avengers Doomsday. And I'm paraphrasing here, but what Alex basically said was that if they do what they want to do with Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom, it will set him up as sympathetic and that the audience will understand why Doom is doing what he is doing. And in fact, Alex went as far as to say that he may well be more justified than Thanos was during the events of the Infinity Saga. Now, just to kind of put this in context of like what fans think when they make these kind of comments, the idea here is that Thanos in the MCU, as opposed to from Marvel Comics, was a sympathetic character. I know that sounds crazy, but walk with me on this. You have to remember that in Marvel Comics, Thanos was a nihilist. He didn't actually have a plan other than just around with the universe and destroying a whole bunch of life. He was actually trying to win the favor of Mistress Death. And in fact, the snap, which eliminated half the life in the universe, was done by Thanos just to try to impress Mistress Death. He's like, oh, baby, you love death? Well, check this out. How about like how all the death, half the death? And the point is that in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they changed this. They made Thanos more sympathetic. Thanos in the Marvel Cinematic Universe sees that the universe is unsustainable. He's like, if we keep going like this, everybody's gonna die. So I have to kill half the life so that everybody else can live and so that the universe itself can live. So even though he's doing some super messed up stuff, he's doing it for like a good reason. He actually wants to save the universe. So Alex's comments about RDJ's Doctor Doom potentially being more sympathetic to that got me thinking. That is quite an interesting thing to say. Now, in addition to that, we have new information about what exactly is going on with the Fantastic Four movie and Victor Von Doom. So it did come out recently that RDJ's Doctor Doom will be the Victor Von Doom from the actual Fantastic Four universe, because it has been established that this new MCU Fantastic Four movie is going to be in a separate universe. It doesn't take place in the 616 universe. This is a different one. What that means is that the Victor Von Doom that we're going to meet via RDJ does not come from 616. He is a variant in a different universe. And so that character in a different universe is going to discover something that's going to put him on a crusade, which will lead to Doomsday. And according to My Time to Shine Hello, the motivation for Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom is to eliminate the multiverse. He wants there to just be one universe so that he can better protect it. And so this variant of Victor Von Doom is going to discover something that sends him on that crusade to destroy the multiverse, which likely involves the sacred timeline, because in Deadpool, it's kind of hinted that the only universe that matters is the sacred timeline. So maybe that's the only universe that Doom can actually use, right? So he has to kind of reform that universe. So what could motivate that character in a way to destroy so many different universes, but would also have the audience being kind of sympathetic towards him? This could be as simple as Victor sees that the entire multiverse is going to be destroyed, maybe by the Beyonders, and he wants to just stop that. And so he's justified in doing whatever he thinks is necessary to stop that. That is essentially the motivation of Doctor Doom in the Jonathan Hickman Secret Wars event. That, of course, being at least inspiration and partially something that the MCU is going to adapt in their version of Secret Wars, because there's incursions in Multiverse of Madness. They also will probably play a role in what happens in Doomsday, and that's from Jonathan Hickman's Secret Wars. So some elements of that story are for sure being adapted. However, hold on to that thought, because I think it's more complicated than just Robert Downey Jr. wanting to save the multiverse. Partially because if My Time to Shine Hello is correct, Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom actually wants to eliminate the multiverse. He just wants one universe. So perhaps he's just trying to save everything from being destroyed, and the only way he could see that working is with a singular universe. However, I actually think there's more depth and actual character stuff that gave the Russo brothers this idea. I think here it's worth going back to what the Russos said on stage at San Diego Comic-Con.
As fans of the comic know, Secret Wars is incredibly ambitious. All of this made Joe and I understand that we would need to make another essential movie first in order for all of us to be ready for Secret Wars.
Yeah, there is one very, very important character that is required to do Secret Wars justice. And it's a character that Marvel has not introduced yet. And it could be the most important character in all of the Marvel universe.
Ladies and gentlemen, as proof of the unimaginable possibilities in the Marvel multi-universe, we give you the one person who could play Victor Von Doom.
And I think the thing you really need to pay attention to what we just watched is the fact that they really feel like it had to be Robert Downey Jr. to tell this story, right? And they used the phrase multi-universe. So essentially, they have a story that they think is compelling. They have an idea that made it necessary that it would be Robert Downey Jr. to play Victor Von Doom. And they utilize the phrase multi-universe when talking about that, which I think implies that the idea needs Robert Downey Jr. as Victor Von Doom because Robert Downey Jr. was Iron Man. And something else that has made this really evident to me has been the discussion about Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom being the definitive Doctor Doom. Now, this comes from an interview with Robert Downey Jr. himself, where he was talking about how this idea came about, and he references the fact that Kevin Feige mentioned that they absolutely need to get Victor Von Doom right. And then there were some comments from different scoopers and insiders, mostly Daniel RPK, about how Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios view Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom as the definitive Doctor Doom. This was in reference to the idea of a different Doctor Doom after Secret Wars. There are a lot of fans out there that don't love Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom, and they actually want somebody else to be Doctor Doom. And they think that this whole RDJ Doctor Doom is probably like a Tony Stark variant or something, and they're like, no, well, that's, whatever, but can we just get regular Doctor Doom after this? And basically, Daniel said no. And he said no because Marvel views Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom as the Doctor Doom. This is actual Victor Von Doom, the Victor Von Doom, the definitive Victor Von Doom. In fact, just last week, the Russo brothers sat down with Frosty from Collider, did an interview talking about Secret Wars. This was the first time they spoke about it since Comic-Con, and they said in this interview again that the whole reason they are doing this is because they have a compelling story idea that they think will delight and surprise fans.
What motivated us to come back wasn't, we're not chasing that. What we're chasing is this idea that we felt there was more powerful storytelling to be done. And that's what motivated us. When we tuned into a story that we felt like had to be told, that we wanted to tell, and that would be an incredible thrill, not just for us, but for audiences. That's kind of what we're focused on. We can't really control, sort of how things, what ends up to a movie after you make it. All we can do is put our best effort into making it.
Yeah, there's no better experience as a filmmaker than, galvanizing audiences around the world and getting them excited about a really ambitious story. And, it's certainly was a highlight of our careers was sitting in audiences watching Infinity War and Endgame with those audiences when it was electric and felt like a rock concert. And, you know, stories are one of the last things that we have left that bind people together still. And they have the opportunity to try to do that again, and to have the opportunity to try to, you know, get people excited about a story that that they all can all get behind and share in together was really, attractive to us, because we knew it would had the potential to be another really special experience.
How can Robert Downey Jr. actually be the definitive Doctor Doom? How can he be justified in making some kind of a crusade to eliminate the multiverse? How could it be the case that the Russo brothers had this idea that it had to be Robert Downey Jr. because it's so compelling and it makes use of the Marvel multi-universe? I think this all has to do with the sacred timeline, and it has to do with the fact that this version of the multiverse is a false reality, at least on the sacred timeline. And if you think about it, we already know that 616 is kind of a false reality. Number one, we know this because Marvel Studios didn't have access to Spider-Man and the X-Men and the Fantastic Four. So by definition, it had to be a Marvel universe that could only use characters that it already had via its licenses. But we know from an in-universe explanation that it's a false reality as well. Because of the TVA and the Loki series, we know that He Who Remains defeated everybody else in the multiversal war and then reset the sacred timeline using the TVA to make sure that certain things happened and certain things did not. Remember that everything we saw in the Infinity Saga was literally on a script that He Who Remains had, and the TVA themselves were pruning realities to make sure that the timeline stayed exactly the way that He Who Remains wanted it to stay. And so this is how I think they could bring this all together. This is how Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom can be the definitive Doctor Doom. He can be justified in wanting to destroy the multiverse and make a singular universe. This is how the story is going to be compelling, and why the Russos needed Robert Downey Jr. to be Victor Von Doom, and how it will utilize the multi-universe. I think it's going to go down like this. RDJ's Victor Von Doom, a variant that exists out there in the multiverse, will discover that the multiverse is collapsing. As he studies more of the multiverse, he will learn that every single universe is about to be destroyed except for the sacred timeline. And I think this partially because of some stuff that was said in Deadpool and Wolverine, including some really crazy stuff that happened in a deleted scene. Just think about this. They wanted to grab Deadpool from a dying universe and bring him to the sacred timeline, the only timeline that matters. So then I think RDJ Doctor Doom will be like, okay, I'll go to the sacred timeline. I'll team up with the Victor Von Doom from the sacred timeline, and we will solve this problem. And then he's going to realize there's no Doctor Doom on the sacred timeline. And then he's going to realize that not only is there not a Victor Von Doom on the sacred timeline, but his variant, the true Doctor Doom on the sacred timeline, was adopted by the Starks and grew up to be a hero. And if you know Victor Von Doom from the comics, this would infuriate him. It would already be infuriating to Doctor Doom that somebody would create a timeline without Doctor Doom in it. But the idea of taking Doctor Doom and turning him into Iron Man, making him not have any of his magical training and setting him up to be a hero, that is like the ultimate disrespect to everything that Doom thinks of himself as. So this would make this Doctor Doom the definitive Doctor Doom because he's a variant that somehow actually managed to become properly Doctor Doom. It would make this character justified in going on a crusade to reshape the multiverse because this sacred timeline and most of the multiverse was twisted to make him either not exist or make him into a hero. It would be the compelling thing that the Russo brothers are talking about, and why they would need Robert Downey Jr. to play this role of Victor Von Doom, because it's compelling because it recontextualizes everything that happened in the Infinity Saga. All the different moments when Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man went a little dark are now completely explained by the fact that at his core, he was actually Victor Von Doom. It also plays this really nice game of like nurture versus nature, right? Because this is essentially the nature of Victor Von Doom with the nurture of the Starks, which technically doesn't seem like it was that good, but it was good enough to make him heroic and make him not turn into complete crazy evil Doctor Doom. It allows all the characters that know RDJ's Iron Man to have second thoughts about all of their interactions with that character and to really consider what was going on in their own universe. And ultimately, it would allow the character of Tom Holland's Spider-Man to have incredibly emotional moments with the character of Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom, which is another thing that the scoopers will not stop talking about, because that appears to be like the core element of the Doomsday film, and Tom Holland and Robert Downey Jr. are going to be like the two main people in that movie. So there you have it. There's all the new evidence and my sort of refined theory of what is going on with Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom. I would love to know what you think about this, so drop a comment down in the comment section. And as I always say, I hope you are having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video.